China's fairy tale village. Welcome to the Wangxian Valley. Set on the cliffside of a valley in Shangrao, this old mining town has undergone a remarkable transformation, becoming one of China's most captivating attractions. Initially, we had anticipated this to be an overrated tourist destination, but our expectations were exceeded. While it's certainly touristy and can get crowded in the evenings, we thoroughly enjoyed our time wandering the valley. From our morning spent gazing at the breathtaking views to the evening when the village comes alive with performances and delicious street food, this place should definitely be on your China itinerary. In this video, we want to share our full travel guide, from how we got here, where to stay, and most importantly, the best things to do in Wangxiangu.
We just got off the train here at Shangrao Station. It actually only took about 40 minutes from Huangshan. That's what we were exploring for the past couple of days. Right now, we're just gonna go and look for our driver that our hotel arranged for us. We'll tell you all about where we booked and how we booked and all of that good stuff once we get there.
We just got to Wangxian. It was about an hour's car ride from the train station. And now we're all checked into our homestay, which is the Guiyuan homestay.
In this area, because again, it's just a little town, there aren't really any hotels. They're all pretty much guest homes and little bread and breakfasts. And this spot that we booked, we specifically did it through trip.com, which is by far the best way to book any of your hotels, your flights, your trains. Do not bother with any of the other platforms. And by the way, this is not sponsored whatsoever. It just works.
And the owners here are so sweet. It had a nice little welcome, and the place is very cute, super modern, which is very surprising because all the buildings in this village don't look that way at all from the outside.
It's pretty cool that each room has a unique little name, which I think is a nice little touch. And as soon as you walk in, you're met with a huge king size bed, which we're sitting on right now. But the bathroom actually looks super nice.
Very clean looking. They have an automatic toilet, which is a nice touch as well. But instead of actual towels, they provided these like disposable towels instead. We've used them before in China, and personally we don't love them, but I guess it does save them if they don't have their own laundry system.
We do have a little bit of a view out into the hills. It's pretty moody right now. It's been raining for pretty much the entire day. Thankfully, we're not going to the actual valley today. So the areas that you stay in are actually about a 5-minute drive from the valley itself. Now inside the valley, I believe there are 2 hotels, but they're very expensive and the reviews are not great. So the best thing you can do is to book inside of the little town right beside the valley. And all of these homestays, pretty much all of them, will offer you free shuttle service anytime you want into the valley.
So for today, I think we're gonna be taking it easy. We do have some work to get done, and we do need to recover these legs after Huangshan because my calves are killing me.
The weather is also forecasted to be significantly better tomorrow. So again, as Lauren said, we're gonna get some rest, take it easy, but we'll catch you guys tomorrow in Wangxian Valley.
We just got our tickets for the Wangxian Valley, and it costs 120 Yen per person. It took us 5 minutes by car for our host to come drop us off right at the entrance point when we got here around 9:30, which is perfect because that's when opening time is. And these tickets unfortunately don't allow for re-entry, so you guys, we're going to be spending the entire day here.
First impressions of this place is that it really is beautiful. The old architecture just looks so cool. This used to be an abandoned mine, and they kind of revamped it into this fairy tale land. But they did that a little bit more recently. So if you're looking for that old school, like true to earth, centuries ago architecture, that's not really what you're gonna find. They kind of mimic that by recreating it.
The valley is actually pretty small, and it only takes about 3 hours to walk through the entire thing. And all of these walk paths are really cool to walk through too, but you can actually go right into some of the floating wooden buildings. And it feels like we're taking a trip to the past, because not only do we get to see it, but we can immerse ourselves in it.
But by far, the best way to actually see Wangxian Valley is through the air. So if you do have a drone, thankfully here in China, it's actually quite easy to fly it. All you have to do is register yourself as well as your drone. They'll send you a little QR code, you stick it on your drone, and then you can pretty much fly it almost anywhere.
Almost anywhere.
We just made it to the highest point in the entire valley, which is called the White Crane Tower. And from here, you get the most beautiful view, including the waters below. And also up here, you can read about the legend of the Yunhai Cliffs. Essentially, what it says is that back in the day, this area was really prone to flooding and the people were in dire need of saving. So one day, these white cranes came and transformed into bridges, which led them to safety on top of these cliffs. And also during this time is when they saw the clouds press against the cliffs, creating the sea of clouds, hence why the name Yunhai. We're gonna enjoy the view here for just a little bit before heading down and in search of some food because we are starving. So right there are actually the homestays that you can stay right here in the valley. It does seem pretty cool because you get all of these mountain views, but the issue is to the right side, there is a ton of construction as they're revamping the area and building new homes. While to the left, while you do see these mountains, it's essentially just a giant parking lot along with the highway. We were heading towards a little town at the base of the valley, but then we noticed this restaurant that was actually slightly elevated. And from here, we have a fantastic view of the town, as well as the new construction that they're doing on the other side of the valley. When that's all complete, this valley is going to be looking so cool with houses along both sides.
A really great view and hopefully really good meal as well. We ordered something light, a specialty from here, Wangxian tofu, and some refreshing cucumber. We wanted to order some light food because we're hoping to get some street food as we enter the town.
We're just exploring the little town at the base of the valley, and it's actually so beautiful here. This cool little water feature, the rustic architecture, a lot of different shops as well as little eateries, but we just spotted a coffee shop, so I think it's time for a little refuel.
The coffee shop that we found is called Ran Coffee, and the coffee in China is by no means cheap. It's actually more expensive than what we pay back home in Canada. But when the setting is like this, I'd say sometimes it's worth it. It's so cute. They actually have a second level here where they really kept that rustic old Chinese architecture, and the seating is actually really comfy. We can gaze out at the view, which is gorgeous. And the coffee itself, so good.
We're just walking through the streets of the old town here, and this place is street food heaven. From savory to sweet, there's something for everyone. We're super excited to go try out the food a little bit later because it is still quite early. Right now we're just heading over to try to find the best viewpoints, hopefully a decent sunset as well. This is something you might see as you visit around China, earwax extraction. It's super common here to go and get your earwax removed by these, I wouldn't call them professionals necessarily, but it is quite safe to do so.
The shopping here is right up my alley, and I just want to stop at every single boutique and roam around for hours. They have like a lot of gemstone bracelets, a lot more traditional things like wooden instruments or bamboo weaved baskets. But another cool thing about this street is that there are a lot of like DIY shops. So you can create your own crafts, you can engrave your own stamps, or even paint your own fans, which is really cool. The sun has gone down and it's about time for us to look for some street food. We noticed that every single shop here actually sells pretty much different things.
Yeah, which is actually quite rare because usually when you go to these little market type places, they kind of sell the same thing just like right next to each other. But here we're actually seeing a lot of variety. Okay, the first item of the day is this really beautiful and crispy beef patty. It was so cool watching them make it. It was like mesmerizing. There were so many people out there just like staring at them.
Not gonna lie, another reason why we stopped here was because we saw like a whole crowd of people like, accumulating around them.
Essentially what it is that it's a really crispy outside and inside they have green onion as well as beef. And I think they put some sort of a egg wash. But it looked like there's some peppers on there too.
Yeah.
You already know this is gonna taste delicious. We'll wait for it to cool down a little bit and then we'll take a bite.
The meat is marinated so well in here. And this is only 15 Rand, so maybe about $2 US. And I think it's completely worth it, especially when you come to places like this where it's super touristy. Usually the street food is very expensive. For something like this, it's actually pretty big, decent amount of meat, and it tastes delicious. We're having our Wangxian specialty taro dumplings, and the flour that they use is actually a sweet potato flour. We let it cool down this time, so Jason's gonna take the first bite.
The skin looks super, super thick though, so I don't know how I fully feel about that, but I gotta try it first. Inside is actually a meat filling, and the outside is so chewy. It's actually really delicious.
So you like the sweet potato? You don't mind that it's thick?
I actually love that it's sweet potato.
I want the last bite.
Here, take a little soup with it. This is such a nice chew, but it's like a soft chew. It's not super bouncy.
Also, the peppers that they use is very interesting. The seasoning.
Green little dumpling, very different, very unique. Never had this before.
Very xiang, as they say in China.
Which is umami.
Sweet, creamy, juicy, savory. Really good. And the spoon's a little shovel.
I'm crying right now. This is so spicy.
My mouth is completely burnt.
And we're sweating so much right now. It is delicious, but damn, we should have asked for less spicy. I can barely breathe.
We're gonna need a really cool drink after this. Probably a milky drink.
Yeah, seriously, can you see the sweat? That is crazy.
One final thing that we had to do was catch the bonfire that started at 7:45 in the main square. It was so cool. There was a huge performance, and then they engaged the crowds with a lot of like dancing and partying at the very end.
And this was just the perfect way to end our time here in the valley. We hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you guys on our next adventure.